Hi guys, it's Hannah. Welcome to Weeknight Wonders. Hope you're all doing well during this crazy time of year. Today I'd love to show you how to make my gochujang and yogurt marinated chicken with garlic butter rice. It sounds a lot more involved than it is. We're leaning on boneless, skinless chicken thighs and quick cooking basmati rice to get dinner on the table in no time. So the key to this recipe lies in the marinade, most of which will go towards marinating the actual chicken thighs, and then we'll save just a couple tablespoons, mix it with mayo, and we'll use that to drizzle over the final dish. So we've juiced our lemon and we've grated half a small yellow onion. The onion acts as a really great gentle tenderizer for meats, but it also obviously imparts flavor, so that's great. You just take half an onion, cut it down with the root still intact, grate it on the largest hole of your box grater. Just be very careful with your fingers, and once you get to this end, just stop. You don't have to be a martyr. You can just cut this up and we can add it to the rice. So let's make the marinade. Right now we have some Greek yogurt. You can use plain. The important thing is that it's full fat, whichever version you choose. We are adding some Korean red pepper paste known as gochujang. It's in my pantry and I'm happy to see it in kind of supermarkets all over these days. It's not just spicy, but smoky, sweet. It's really complex. Highly recommend you give it a try if you haven't. Some soy sauce. Just add a bit of sugar. It's not going to make it sweet, it's just for balance. Add about the same amount of olive oil. Slowest olive oil. No, it's okay. The most beautiful. It's pretty. I actually need a slow pour at home because I feel like all my spouts are rushing out. Okay. We juiced the lemon for both the marinade and for the sauce. Eichel. Okay. Adding some salt, pepper, minced garlic. So here is our base marinade. As I mentioned, most of it will go towards seasoning and marinating our chicken, but we're going to reserve about 2 tablespoons. You can put it in a bowl like this or a jar and just set it aside. We're going to add some mayonnaise to this and create a nice sauce. Whoa! So grab your favorite bowl with a lid, or you can use a zip top bag, whatever is best for you. I would recommend marinating for at least an hour, up to overnight. This is perfect for the morning when you're like, ooh, what are we gonna have for dinner? Ooh, gotta start the chicken, or even the night before. But there's no need to go beyond 24 hours. And then just add the marinade. Add the marinade, we'll give everything a good toss. If you're using a zip top bag, you'll just remove the excess air and give it a massage. This marinade is enough for really any standard boneless, skinless chicken thigh container. It's usually 1 3/4, under 2 pounds. So it should be plenty. So the chicken is in its marinade. We're gonna put it in the fridge and start on the rice. So the chicken is marinating in the fridge, and now we're going to make our little drizzle sauce. We reserved a couple of tablespoons of the base marinade. We're going to add in some mayonnaise. You can also use your whisk here too, by the way. You can just set that aside for when you're about to plate the final dish. So let's make the rice. First of all, chicken and rice of any type is just my favorite. I love it so much. Here in New York, we have great varieties of arroz con pollo or halal cart, chicken and rice. I just love them all. And my version today, we're using basmati rice, which I've already rinsed for a little bit under cold water just to remove some of that excess starch. I found with basmati, since it's such a delicate grain, you don't have to pre-soak it. Just rinse the basmati rice until the water runs somewhat clear. So first, we're gonna get our butter. We have a pot here, medium heat, and some of the reserved onion that we saved from earlier in the marinade making, and garlic. We're just gonna let the aromatics soften a little bit before we add the rice. Truth be told, I lean on my rice cooker at home most days, but rice can be tricky to make at home, but truly, once you start, it becomes very intuitive. So today we're using a heavy bottom pot, which I think is critical so you don't get overly scorched rice. Like a little crispiness on the bottom is fine, but you don't want it to burn before the rice is actually ready. And then you want to keep it fairly squat, the pot. If it's too big, then the liquid that you put in dissipates a little too quickly, and then you'll have to add more water to it. So you kind of have to just be a judge, use a pot that's not too big, not too wide, and a nice heavy bottom. Let's add the basmati rice. We're just gonna kind of toast it, let it meet the butter and garlic and onion. Obviously, you can add whatever spices or aromatics that you like. Today, we are going to be using chicken stock. I think the perfect ratio of rice to liquid is 1 to 1.5. And that way, it's not too gummy or sticky. Everything is well cooked. So we're going to bring it to a boil and then reduce it to simmer and cover with a lid right away. And then lower the heat. And of course, salt. So once you see these bigger bubbles, knock the heat back to low, and we're gonna cook it with the lid on for 12 minutes. No peeking. So while the rice is cooking, now would be a great time to like and subscribe to Food 52's YouTube channel. You can find the full recipe over on the site. So rice is still cooking. We are going to prepare the chicken for broiling. I would preheat my broiler for 5 to 10 minutes, even though it comes up very quickly. You just want to give it a little bit of a head start. We have a baking sheet with a cooling rack over it. We've lined it with foil to help with cleanup afterwards, and just get an oil spray. I would spray both sides to really make cleanup a lot easier later. And then chicken has been marinating. Any excess marinade, you don't have to worry too much. You can let it just drip off. You know your oven best, so keep an eye while broiling. I recommend you have at least 6-inch clearance from the heating element and the rack. I just shut the heat. It's going to steam for another 10 minutes. Please resist the urge to open the lid because you need that steam to finish in the cooking process. So we're going to flip these chicken thighs. They've been under the broiler for about 7 minutes. They're gonna cook for 5 more minutes, and then we're gonna flip them one more time for a final 2-minute char. So let's check on the rice. Hopefully we'll be richly rewarded for not peeking. Okay. Fluffy and like separate, but still fluffy. That's why I'll let it air out. So we just fluff the rice. Okay, so all of our components are ready. The chicken is just resting under some foil just so we can keep it warm. I love relying on my broiler. I live in a New York City apartment. We don't have a grill, but you can easily get that nice charred, smoky flavor just underneath the broiler, which rely on your broiler. It's there. These were done in less than 20 minutes. Okay. So I actually like to cut these small enough where you don't need a knife, kind of like your neighborhood chicken and rice joint. I mean, this one is just calling out my name. Gotta try this, sorry. Mmm. Get your romaine. I just love how cold and crunchy this is. This is your green of the day. And some, I love Campari tomatoes as well because frankly, they're kind of ripe all year round. Easy to get at any market. And then here's the sauce. If you had this in the fridge, you might just want to add 1 or 2 tablespoons of water just to loosen it enough to drizzle. The broiler is your friend. You're able to get these really nice charred bits from the yogurt and gochujang marinade. The gochujang, even though it's a red pepper paste, it's not super spicy. So the amount I have in the recipe is enough for my young daughter to tolerate. Feel free to add a bit more if you want it even more spicy. The yogurt and the grated onion did their job in really helping to tenderize the meat in a really short amount of time. And the drizzle sauce just ties everything together. So hope you guys can make this. You can find the full recipe on the site, and I'll see you next time.